I want you to imagine something with me. If you pressed the pause button on your life and looked back at the moments when you felt lost, confused, unseen, and then imagine a voice, a message, a book that felt like it understood you, what would it feel like? These books didn't just give me ideas. They rewired how I see pain, time, healing, identity, and purpose. They helped me become the person I always knew I could be, but didn't know how to get there. So this isn't just a list, it's a journey, and I want you to walk it with me. Book number 1 is The Way of Integrity by Martha Beck. Here is the first lesson. What if your inner truth wasn't something to find later, but something that has always been inside you? In The Way of Integrity, Martha Beck teaches that integrity isn't just honesty with others. It's alignment between who you are, what you feel, and what you do. The pain we carry, the anxiety, the disconnection, most of it stems from being out of touch with ourselves. Beck says integrity is the cure for psychological suffering because when your actions don't match your true values, the result is internal conflict and exhaustion. Martha Beck once said, "Integrity is the cure for suffering. It is the way to freedom." She even structures the journey like Dante's Divine Comedy, starting in confusion and ending in a kind of inner freedom. For me, this book was a compass. It helped me see that the first step toward healing isn't fixing your life. It's discovering who you are beneath expectations you never asked for. You start living from the inside out instead of the outside in, and this is a radical form of freedom. The second book is How to Have a Beautiful Mind by Edward de Bono. De Bono isn't about fluff, he's about clarity. In How to Have a Beautiful Mind, he lays out techniques for creative and constructive thinking. He shows that most of our mental suffering comes from repetitive, unexamined thought patterns, the same thoughts looping over fear, doubt, and insecurity. In this book, De Bono teaches you lateral thinking, shifts in perception, and reframing. And these are the ways to make your brain break out of its old grooves and see new alternatives. Imagine your mind as a garden. Some weeds grow because you never pull them out, and De Bono gives you the tools to weed. After reading this book, you begin to think with precision, not confusion, which opens space for healing, growth, ideas, and solutions you didn't see before. And now we come with book number 3, The Choice by Dr. Edith Eger. If anyone understands healing after trauma, it is Dr. Eger, a concentration camp survivor and a psychologist. The Choice is a story of confronting the worst that life can throw at you, and then discovering that the deepest freedom sometimes comes from the hardest internal choices we make. The author's most profound message is this: you can't control what happens to you, but you can choose how to respond. She walks you through her own experiences, the horror of war and loss, but also the real lessons of psychological freedom and inner healing. Dr. Edith Eger famously said, "Freedom is not given to us by others. We have to cultivate it in ourselves." This book taught me that healing isn't just about moving on. It's about choosing to respond with courage and compassion. The Choice shows you how to transform trauma into something that teaches you, and to choose a response rather than repeat your old patterns. Book number 4 is Wake the Tiger by Peter Levine. Most of us carry stress like an uninvited guest. We numb it, we push it down, we deny it. But it never really leaves. And Wake the Tiger is about reclaiming your body's wisdom. Peter Levine shows how trauma isn't just in the mind, it's in the nervous system. Many of us think we're over it until we realize our body still holds the memory. Levine teaches how trauma lives in the body and how through awareness and subtle physical exercises you can gently release that stuck energy. Healing happens when your body finally trusts again. And thanks to this book, you learn how to listen to your body. And that is a foundation for profound psychological and emotional healing. And now we're coming to book number 5. This is What a Man Thinketh by James Allen. This one is short, but don't let that fool you. What a Man Thinketh isn't just a title, it's a declaration. Your mind is the garden, and your thoughts are the seeds. What you cultivate inside yourself becomes your reality. James Allen explains that thought precedes character, habits, and ultimately destiny. If you want to change your life, you first change what you allow yourself to think. This book pulled me out of blame and into responsibility. It helped me realize that nothing external can shape me unless I let it. By reading this book, you get radical clarity that thought precedes experience, and that is empowerment. Book number 6 is Ego is the Enemy by Ryan Holiday. Here's the truth most of us never admit. Sometimes the biggest obstacles aren't outside of us, they are inside us. In Ego is the Enemy, Ryan Holiday shows how ego, that voice in your head that wants to be right, validated, admired, is the real enemy of growth. Ego keeps us small, defensive, insecure, and brittle. Holiday uses historical stories of artists, leaders, entrepreneurs to illustrate that when ego disappears, clarity, humility, and grit emerge. And although I know that I can never kill my ego entirely, this book taught me the following. Is this me trying to serve growth or protect the ego? In this book, you learn to ditch your inner saboteur and step into humility, discipline, and genuine confidence. And now let's discuss book number 7, Awakening by Anthony DeMello. If integrity is about aligning with your true self, then awakening is about seeing your life clearly, without any illusions. Anthony DeMello was a Jesuit priest and spiritual teacher, and this book is not religious in the conventional sense. It is human. It's about waking up from autopilot, habit, and old conditioning. DeMello says that many of us live asleep, driven by fear, attachment, approval, without ever seeing the truth of our thoughts and feelings. I read this book in one of the hardest seasons of self-doubt I've ever known, and it cracked open a space inside me where I could finally see what was real and what was fear. This book teaches you how to stop living on autopilot and begin living consciously, with depth, presence, and self-awareness. And now we come to my last book, book number 8, Kintsugi, The Art of Embracing the Mess by Celine Santini. Kintsugi is not just a book, it's a philosophy. Have you ever seen the Japanese art where broken pottery is repaired with gold? Instead of hiding the cracks, they highlight them, and the cracks become beautiful. Celine Santini's Kintsugi teaches us exactly that. Life is not about perfection, it's about integration of brokenness. This book changed how I see scars, imperfections, failure. Instead of being ashamed of my life, of the mistakes, of the missteps, I started to see them as golden seams that make my life richer, deeper, and more human. Instead of asking myself, how do I fix this? I started asking myself, what if this is what makes me beautiful? By reading this book, you start embracing your cracks as parts of your beauty, and that changes everything. And now, what ties all these books together? These books on the surface are from different worlds. Psychology, spirituality, thinking tools, Stoic philosophy, trauma healing. but there is a thread running through them all. Clarity over confusion, presence over autopilot, authenticity over image, choice over victimhood, growth over ego, wholeness over perfection. Together they helped me become someone who doesn't wait for life to change to be happy. They helped me become the person who can thrive no matter what life brings. If you take only one thing from this episode, let it be this: the journey to your dream life doesn't start with changing your situation. It starts with how you see yourself. Each of these books did that for me, and that's why they are not just books on the shelf. I can call them teachers. So, if you pick them up, whether you read just one at a time, or devour them all, or read only 1 out of 8, ask yourself this question: what part of me needs to be healed, freed, or seen? I realized healing isn't linear, and it isn't always pretty. But when you read with openness, true openness, you unlock the door inside yourself you didn't even know were closed. And that changes everything.